This is TWiT.
I'm worried about information warfare, but I think it's primarily a monopoly problem and not a manipulation problem. I think that, is the book that I've just published this week, the Surveillance Capitalism book on 1.0.
This is
really
so good.
Takes aim.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Leo.
Yeah,
it takes aim at this idea that algorithms are really good at persuading us. And it notes that, the actual science on this is not great. The big five personality type science doesn't replicate. Expression detection doesn't replicate. That giant Facebook voter manipulation study where they subjected 20 million people to get out the vote messages saw an effect size of 0.4%. Now, some elections are close enough that 0.4% matters, but, it's not mind control. And everyone who's ever claimed that they had mind control turned out to be lying.
That was kind of,
on the other hand,
Shoshanna needed that final point.
She did.
Because otherwise, so what?
Yeah. Otherwise it's monopolies, and she doesn't want to call it monopolies because she's a business school professor, and she wants to say that capitalism mostly works and that tech is a rogue capitalism that has figured out how to take away our right to choose.
Right.
But being able to be the only place where people get their information is a really good way to change what they believe. But if someone already knows something and you can show them a bunch of other information, it's really hard to change their minds, right? Look at Goebbels, who probably had the best information control of any dictator in our history, who had mandatory 3-hour national radio broadcasts about Nazism that were aimed at convincing people that Nazism was the one true ideology. And 5 years after the bunker was taken over and Berlin fell, most people had repudiated Nazism. And it wasn't through deprogramming exercises. It was through truth and reconciliation trials. So, you can get people to do stuff. You can terrorize them into doing it. You can get distracted people to not really understand what's going on. But I'm less worried about this information warfare. But even if we should be worried about information warfare, the way to solve it is not to stop people from talking to each other. It's to give them control over the media that they use where they talk to each other.
But it's free, so you can't have control. You're not paying me to use TikTok or Facebook or Twitter. If you'd like to pay me $3 a month, I'll give you all the privacy you want.
I don't buy it. Every Uyghur who used an iPhone spent $1,000 on their iPhone, and Apple sold them out. Right? Every farmer who spends $600,000 on a John Deere tractor can't fix it, even though they bought it. Right? If you're not paying for the product, the product works under conditions of competition. But under monopoly, I don't care if you're paying for the product.
I'm gonna cash in both ways. Why not do both? Yeah. Take your money and spy on you. Why not? What's going to stop me? This is, by the way, everybody should read this. It's a fairly long piece. It's actually a whole book. It's free for reading at 10.medium.com, How to Destroy Surveillance Capitalism. And I haven't finished it because I only discovered it this morning, so I read as much as I could over my coffee. But essentially, the idea is the concentration of power in these handful of companies is really the issue. And if you can, diversity is your friend.